To perform any activity, we need energy. This energy is obtained by breakdown of organic molecules such as sugar, fats, and proteins, etc. And this is the process. Carbon dioxide, which is harmful, is also released during the above catabolic reaction. It is therefore evident that oxygen has to be continuously provided to the cells, and CO2 produced by the cells have to be released out. This process of exchange of oxygen from the atmosphere with carbon dioxide produced by the cells is called breathing, commonly known as the respiration. Living organisms inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. This process, inhaling of oxygen and exhaling of carbon dioxide, is called breathing. And mechanism of breathing vary among different groups of animals depending mainly on their habitats and level of organization. Lower invertebrates like sponges, coelentrates, flatworms, etc. exchange oxygen with carbon dioxide by simple diffusion over their entire body surface. And these insects like cockroaches and earthworm, cockroaches has different tracheae, that is tracheal tubes, and earthworms has moist skins for exchange of gases. A snail has tenedium. This is the vascularized structure for exchange of gases or mechanism of breathing. And a scorpion and a spider has book-like a structure, so open book-like a structure called book lungs, which are used for exchanges of gases. And birds and different vertebrates have lungs. And vascularized are called lungs. Fish respire through the gills. Gills is a vascularized structure. Among vertebrates, fishes use gills, whereas amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals respire through the lungs. Amphibians like frogs can respire through their moist skin also. This is called cutaneous respirations. Human respiratory system is well developed, and it consists of, we have a pair of external nostril opening out above the upper lips. It leads to a nasal chambers through the nasal passage. The nasal chambers opens into the pharynx, a portion of which is common passage for food and air. The pharynx opens through the larynx region into the trachea. Larynx is a cartilaginous box, and nose is made of bone and cartilage. So nose during inhaling warms, moistens, and filters the air it takes in. So larynx, nasal chambers, the pharynx opens through the larynx region into the trachea. Larynx is a cartilaginous box which helps in sound production and hence called the sound box or Adam's apple. During swallowing, glottis can be covered by a thin elastic cartilage flap called epiglottis to prevent the entry of the food into the larynx. This is the epiglottis. Trachea is a straight tube extending up to the mid-thoracic cavity, which divides at the level of fifth thoracic vertebra into a right and left primary bronchi. This is trachea. Each bronchi undergoes repeated division to form the secondary and tertiary bronchi and bronchioles, ending up in very thin terminal bronchioles. The tracheae, primary, secondary, and tertiary bronchi and initial bronchioles are supported by incomplete cartilaginous ring. This is C rings. Bronchioles. Each terminal bronchioles gives rise to number of very thin irregular wall and vascularized bag-like a structure called alveoli, and there is the alveolar ducts. We have around 600 million alveoli. The branching network of bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli complete the lungs. We have two lungs which are covered by double layered pleura with pleural fluid between them. This is the pleural veins through which oxygenated blood passes, and this is the pulmonary veins through which uh, oxygenated blood goes to the heart, and this is the bronchi, bronchioles and alveolus. And left lung is slightly smaller due to presence of heart towards the left sides, and right lung has three lobes, so it is slightly larger than the left lungs. And this is the structure of the lungs, two lungs you can see, and this it has two layers. We have two lungs which are covered by a double layered pleura with pleural fluids between them. It reduces friction on the lung surface. The outer pleural membranes is in close contact with the thoracic lining of the lining, whereas the inner pleural membrane is in contact with the lung surface. The part starting with the external nostrils up to the terminal bronchioles constitute the conducting part, whereas the alveoli and their ducts from the respiratory or exchange part of the respiratory systems. The conducting part transports. This is the thoracic chambers. Now this is the different, and this is in the lower side. There is the inspiration is initiated by the concentration of diaphragms, which increases the volume of the thoracic chamber in the anteroposterior axis. The contraction of the external intercostal muscle lifts up the ribs and the sternum, causing an increase in the volume of the thoracic chamber in the dorsal-lumbar ventral axis. See, this is the diaphragms, and breathing consists of the inspiration and the expiration. Inspiration, during which atmospheric air is drawn in, and expiration, by which the alveolar air is released out. Respiratory system may be conducting part and respiratory part. We have discussed the conducting parts consist of from the nostrils to the bronchioles. This is the conducting parts in which we inhale the air and exhale oxygen and exhale the carbon dioxides. And alveoli and alveolar duct is consist of the respiratory part. Alveoli is the main site of the exchange of gases. So this is the alveoli structures, and it consists, when we take a hand on the chest, place your hands on your chest, you can feel the chest moving up and down due to the breathing, or inspiration leads to the chest upward, and during expiration it goes down. Now different steps of respirations. First, breathing, external respirations, internal transport, internal respirations, cellular respirations. So these are the 5 steps of the respirations. And during inspiration during which atmospheric air is drawn in, and expiration, by which the alveolar air is released out. The movement of air into and out of the lungs is carried out by the creating a pressure gradient between the lungs and the atmospheres. Inspiration occurs if the pressure within the lungs, that is intrapulmonary pressure, is less than the atmospheric pressure. So that is, there is a negative pressures in the lungs with respect to atmospheric pressures. Similarly, expiration takes place just opposite to the inspirations, when his diaphragm goes upwards and relaxed and arched upwards and ribs and sternum return to the original positions. This creates volume of the thorax decreased. So there is low pressures. Expiration takes place with the intrapulmonary pressures is higher than the atmospheric pressures. And alveolar membrane, diffusion membranes made of three layers. Diffusion membrane is made of three major layers, namely thin squamous epithelium of the alveoli, the endothelium of the alveolar capillaries, and the basement substance in between them. However, its total thickness is much less than a millimeters. So therefore, all the factors in our body are favorable for diffusion of oxygen from alveoli to tissue, and that carbon dioxide from tissue to alveoli. So this is the process in which this is the double circulations in and gas transports by the blood. The diffused gases are carried out by the blood from the lungs to different parts of the body. This is called the gas transports. Blood from heart enters into the lungs through pulmonary arterioles and the alveolar capillaries. In lungs, oxygen, carbon dioxide are exchanged between blood and the air. Then the blood flows out through the alveolar capillaries and venules. The blood is back to the heart through the pulmonary vein. The heart pumps their oxygen-rich blood to different tissues. Hemoglobin in the RBC of the blood transport oxygen and carbon dioxide. The diffusion of oxygen and carbon dioxide between blood and the tissue is called internal respirations. Utilization of oxygen by the cells for the catabolic reactions and resultant release of carbon dioxide is called cellular respirations. Okay, thank you very much.